Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we're looking at a big Thursday night slate here, 11 games tonight as the NBA takes a break on Christmas Eve tomorrow, that being Friday. Coming back strong on Saturday with those Christmas games. We will have some videos up for you tomorrow as well. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page to check out what we've got for you today. We are going to be running into the Mavs hosting the Milwaukee Bucks on the second leg of a back-to-back. Take a look at who's missing in there and who you should be betting on. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, the Bucks open -5, but it's been bet down here on the Mavericks side. We're now about -3.5 for the Bucks on the road. And the total bet down a little too. I mean, I think it opened around 212, went up 214, and is now at 209 because Dallas is obviously missing Luka, as well as Maxi Kleber, Reggie Bullock, Willie Cauley-Stein, Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr. now out, and Kristaps Porzingis in danger of missing a second straight game. You got to wonder where they're going to find the offense other than Jalen Brunson. The Bucks are going to be without Giannis, Bobby Portis, Dante DiVincenzo, and Grayson Allen. Is a game-time decision, and you always have to watch. Milwaukee's been resting their guys a lot on back-to-backs this season, so we haven't seen any player props up for them yet. Makes it a little bit of a question mark here, but we'll talk about this game as if Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are good to go on a back-to-back here. And quickly looking at the other 10 games on the slate, we got Rockets +9 at Pacers, Hawks up to +11 at the Sixers. They're without Trae Young and Clint Capella in that one. Pelicans -6 at Magic. The Pistons are +11 at the Heat. Wizards -1.5 at the New York Knickerbockers. The Timberwolves +12 at the Jazz. Thunder on a back-to-back are +15 at Suns. The Nuggets, after losing to the Thunder, -2.5 at home against the Hornets. Big total there of 230. The Grizzlies are +5.5 at the Warriors, and we break that one down in a separate episode. And then the Spurs +1.5 at the Lakers tonight. Look, the Bucks, they've really come up short in a lot of back-to-backs this season. I mean, when you just look at the numbers, but that's mostly a conscious decision to just say, we're not playing Drew or Chris because Chris was coming off COVID and Drew's coming off an ankle injury. Or we're just going to rest Giannis because he was carrying such a huge load without those guys. If they decide they're going to play tonight, I really like their points, and I like how the total is so low. I think it's extremely exploitable for a Bucks team that just dropped 126, granted against the Rockets. But you look at their numbers when both those guys play, not Giannis, but the other two parts of the big three, and they're scoring about 113 points per game with Drew active and 102 without him. Their offensive rating is about 113.5 with Middleton active, and they're 16-6 in those games. Team total is just 108.5. Dallas is good at going under because of their dead last pace. The Mavericks, despite that slow pace, though, are still posting one of the 12th best offensive rating at home. So they are being efficient, and they've somehow become more efficient without Luka. It's kind of that stars out, bets up, spread the wealth mentality. Third in offensive rating in those 5 games without Luka this season. Their defensive rating has been slightly better too, but I think that's why we see a total so low. But I don't think that they're going to be able to stop the Bucks consistently enough to keep them under 108. And I think that the Bucks will this game over. Last season, when they weren't resting guys at this rampant rate, they went 23-12 to the over against the West and were streaking, 36-24 to the over after a win. I think they're going to have to try to build some momentum here. I think Coach Bood is going to have to play those guys unless he wants to completely punt this game. And I think that they will be able to win at Dallas, which, now loses Trey Burke after somehow pulling out a win without all those guys against the Wolves. So I think you can tease the under down further. To get a better over. You get over 205 and you get the Bucks at a pick'em line. I definitely like that as my preferred teaser in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going the other way, man. I'm going to be honest. This one is one where I think we're seeing things differently just because I feel burned by the Mavs a couple of times in pretty much these exact scenarios where they're a slight dog to a team like, let's say, the Lakers as of late, or somewhere along. I mean, even the Timberwolves, who are a better team and were favored in both games in their recent, home at home that they played and won the one at home. It's what they do without Luka. It's what they do at home that makes me go, this is going to get chopped into a game that is just in the mud, right? It's going to be in the muck from this sense. And that's the way that they need to win. Guys that are stepping up in that absence for Dallas, mostly guys like Jalen Brunson right now, who's been dropping a good amount of points since, in their last 5 since they've really needed him. And yeah, it's a lot of addition by subtraction in terms of that playing looser and not looking for Luka on every single play, not worrying about shots for guys like Jalen Brunson or at this point some of their backups who are actually going to be playing tonight because of the fact that that Luka's not in there and guys are a little bit less worried about getting yelled at if they put some shots up. So yeah, they're going to be relying mostly on Jalen Brunson, on Dorian Finney-Smith, and then a couple of guys that you've probably not heard of other than like Dwight Powell. But it's been that way in their last 5. And as you mentioned, they're actually the number 1 rebounding team in the league. They've got the 4th best net in the league. And that pace is just down to 92 possessions per 100, just far and away the least in the league in the last 5. On the season, it's at 95. We mentioned that's with Luka. Without him, it's at 92. So I think I'm actually teasing this one the other way to feel good about it since that total drops so much. Starting at 213.5, I really like the under there. Moving it down all the way to about 210, 209.5 scares me a bit. So if I can get it back up to 213, take under that, get Dallas all the way up to about 8.5, 9.5, depending where you see it right now in terms of that spread. I think 8.5, 9.5 points for them at home feels good against a Bucks team that even right now I might be buying low early, considering that we don't know exactly who's going to play for them tonight on the second leg of that back-to-back. This season hasn't been the case. They haven't seen the success that they saw last season on those second legs. 1-5 against the spread on the second night, 2-4 straight up. And then the over only hit 1 out of their 6 games this season on the second leg, either tired legs or, as you mentioned, just resting their guns on offense. Which, look, if one of Drew or Chris Middleton doesn't play tonight, then I would feel even better about just taking that under as is, to be honest, and not even feeling the need to tease it. But I'm kind of going the other way. I think, we're still saying similar things in terms of the spread and the total seem pretty close to right on right now. And if anything, like you said, you're teasing down to get the Bucks at basically a pick 'em. And I'm just going to go the other way just because I don't think that this game has blowout written anywhere all over it, especially if this does get a little bit, if the Bucks come out to a lead anytime early, you still have those tired legs for them as we come down the stretch and feel good about, the Mavs doing some backdoor covering there.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is totally because the Bucks have rested their guys that those are the results this year. I mean, they haven't been at full strength at any back-to-back as far as I'm aware. And if Drew Holiday is active and a full go and Jalen Brunson is the top option for the other team, I mean, that definitely is advantage Bucks because, he can lock up anybody, even the crafty coach's son there, the Nova product. And I know the Mavs have burned us, but look, they're in this spot. They're 2-8 against the spread against the East. They're 6-9 against the spread at home and 2-4 against the spread with a rest advantage. So it's not like they're necessarily the team to capitalize on Milwaukee's short rest, especially if Milwaukee just plays everybody. I think they're the better team here, certainly. I mean, they have 2 of their 3 best players, bottom line. And the Mavericks, might not have their four of their 5 most essential players at this point. So it's just at some point there has to be a regression towards the mean, right? You look at their offensive rating going up without Luka. I mean, that's an outlier. It's a small sample size, but you got to think eventually they're going to be like, where's our alpha? Where is our guy who can get us shots against the defending champs who, still have some depth out there without Giannis and these guys. They're used to playing without Dante and Bobby Portis and Giannis at this point. Jordan Nwaba has done a great job on the wing filling in. You might see DeMarcus Cousins sit if he's not ready for a back-to-back at this point, but maybe that leads to a more run and gun, high scoring game that kind of supports the over, in my opinion, because otherwise, yeah, you could get into a muck it up game where you have Cousins and Boban lumbering up and down the court next to each other and, asking for extra media timeouts. But if he's sitting, that could increase the pace. And bottom line, if Drew and Chris Middleton are ruled in, then I'm taking the Bucks to win.
No, I feel it. And, some dissension is okay in this one. We're still going to be able to find some ways to exploit this. Make sure you stay on thelines.com. Make sure you also like and subscribe to the page, as we're going to be following what's going on with this one. Want to see who's playing tonight. So you want to stay on all of that NBA news with us. We've got a couple other videos up for you today, including that player props video we love to bring you each and every day. And so until we see you next, happy betting.